All right, guys, welcome back to Apartment 3, and today we have a very special guest. You want to introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Noize, at I Am Noize on Instagram, Beats by Noize on Twitter, all that other good stuff. I forget Facebook, but who cares?
Yeah. And who really uses Facebook anymore?
Exactly. Right? Who's really friends with Zuckerberg?
Yeah, exactly, right. So, kind of...
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Let's see. Oh. He was in the background. He's going to be on the next episode. So, no, you're good.
Oh, man, that was fun.
So, yeah, kind of just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Music producer, record label owner, musician, drummer, keyboardist, arranger. I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally. I moved here at a pretty young age. I moved here when I was about like 13 years old. You know, coming from Detroit and that like real close-knit musical community that was there, coming out here kind of forced me to have to like really do it for myself a lot quicker. So, you know, I wasn't even out of high school like a few years before I started Full Circle. You know, so, you know, in doing that, my whole thing was always developing talent, and fostering new talent and just giving them a place to really work and get their ideas and their content out, without having somebody over them telling them, hey, you should take this bar out and replace this with this, or you should talk about this, don't talk about this, wear this, wear. No, I don't got time for all that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so, you know, that I'm better when asked about myself. How about that?
So you say you do producing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you start with that? When did you really get into producing?
Professionally at about, when I first got paid to produce a record, I'd say about like 12. It was like right before I moved here.
Yeah.
My dad always had a studio in our house, and he always had clients. And as I was starting to, you know, really get into writing and producing, he had a client approach him with this like 10-year-old kid about a track, and my dad didn't want to produce the track, so he just sat me in the studio. Was like, hey, I got like $400 for you. Make this kid a beat, call it a day. So, you know, ever since then, I was like, oh, I could really do this and like really make a living off of this, like my dad, and like have fun at it, you know.
So your dad was a producer?
Yeah, both my parents actually. My dad is a producer and songwriter. He did a lot of work with like Parliament Funkadelic. He wrote and studied under Barrett Strong and Norman Whitfield from Motown. My mother, she's a vocalist, vocal arranger, vocal coach. She did a lot of background work and did a lot of lead vocalist work in the dance music scene, early 90s and stuff like that.
So what would you say that, I guess you can say when you were in the studio with your dad, was that like your first memory of like, this is what I'm going to be doing?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Because I was always in the studio with my dad. At like some of the earliest memories I have in childhood is like sitting at my dad's board, messing up mixes he had, like just messing with stuff. But when I knew that I was gonna like really, really do it, was when I saw my dad playing. He was playing, I can't remember what artist he was playing behind, because my dad's a keyboard player as well. But he was playing behind a artist, and it was a solo section, a keyboard solo section, and he started doing this, and I saw this white lady next to me crying in the stands, and I was like, oh, bet, all right, cool. Like if this is all you got to do to get some tears out, yeah, we good. You know, just seeing the power that held. You know, like he ain't doing nothing but playing some keys, but he's evoking all of these emotions from people, and that was when I was like, okay. Cool, like because at that point it became more than the money to me. You know, at that point it was like, oh, there's a lot of power in this. There's a lot of opportunity in this. You know, and that was what really made me respect and understand the saying when they say music can really change lives. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing that kind of emotion being invoked from a dude on stage playing keyboards, I was just like, what the hell? Like, this is the craziest shit ever. But it was dope, you know. And this was a really big crowd at DTE Music Center in Michigan.
So you kind of mentioned saying that you weren't really worried about the money, like if this is what I can do. And I just kind of wanted to say, yeah, like, I mean, if you enjoy doing it, like the money's going to come.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just want to kind of touch on that.
So did your father teach you how to play the piano and all the other instruments as well?
Yeah, my dad started out teaching me. My dad more so pointed me in the right direction.
Yeah.
I won't say he sat there and gave me lessons every day or anything like that. No. My dad also didn't force it on me. Like, if you ask my parents, they would have loved me to do anything other than music. But he pointed me in the right direction and, you know, gave me the references I needed on who to study. Because I didn't want to be a keyboard player originally. I always wanted to be a drummer. But keyboards is all we had around the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I gravitated to what was there. And that took my love for songwriting somewhere completely different, you know, so I'm glad for that. But I always wanted to be a drummer. So my dad knew that. So he just taught me what I needed to know as a keyboardist to be able to write music. And if I wanted to go beyond that, cool. And he would help me with that. But for the most part, it was, okay, I know this great drummer that you can go study some stuff from. Like, here, I'll take you to his house, you know, stuff like that.
And then when did you actually get your like first drum set?
First drum set, man. My first drum set was a beat up Rogers drum set when I was like 11. Like, it didn't even have like cymbals or anything. It was literally just drums.
Just drum.
Yeah, it was literally just drums. My uncle had it in his garage for like ever. And I was bugging my parents about buying me a drum set because, you know, as a kid, I'm like, this is only $300. Like,
yeah,
they spend this on a game system. Like, come on, you know. But that wasn't the problem. They were more so like, the neighborhood know we musicians, but like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we not trying to like have everybody knocking on the door. Yeah. You know, that's really what it was about. But yeah, my first kit was around like 11. Yeah. Well, no, around like 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that too because growing up in a middle school, high school, I was percussion for like the music, the band and all that.
Nice.
And I always wanted my own drum set, but my parents were like, no, because like the neighbors are going to complain.
Yeah. And that funny thing, when I like got my first full drum set, and it was funny, my homegirl, when I was in high school, I was on the drum line. I was the section leader for our drum line in high school. And my homegirl, Candace, she was a quad player. All my marching geeks out there. She had a drum set that she never used, and I would always be at her house playing her drums. So she was like, you want this kit? Like bet. So she let me take it home. And then her mom and dad like called and they were like really upset about it.
Oh, yeah.
So like my dad was like, he just said she gave it to him. Like, okay. And so the dad was just like, just give us $100 and we'll call it even. So I was like, oh, bet. All right. I got a drum set now.
That's dope.
And that was like my first full drum set, like with everything. I want to say that was like my sophomore year. Yeah.
So you do the piano, the drums. What other instruments?
Enough bass to get around.
Enough bass.
Yeah. You will never see me on stage with a bass, probably. But yeah, I play enough bass in the studio to get around.
And you would say the drums are obviously your favorite.
The drums are my primary instrument. But most of my early touring and most of my early gigging was all keyboard stuff. Yeah. Sure. So I play both fluently. I can get around with both. It's not a problem. If I could play both at the same time, I would. But you know, drums are just more fun to me. You know, when you gotta learn. I was playing like for a lot of different acts early on, like when I was younger, and when you gotta learn like 15, 20 songs in 2 days, like I'm not trying to do that on piano. It's a lot easier to do that on drums.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your parents were involved a lot in your musical
Yeah.
background. So would you say they're your biggest musical influence?
Definitely. If you hear me play and you knew my dad and you heard him play, you'd say I'm a carbon copy of him. Vocally, yeah, I probably sound like a male version of my mom. Yeah, they're probably my biggest musical influence, and most tangible musical influence, They you can say they taught me everything I know, because they never withheld anything from me, even about the business. I knew of the horrors of the music business at a very young age. I think that's a benefit that I was blessed with, is to be able to see the hardships that come with it, and at first I thought it was, a way to scare me out of doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it's helped me navigate the industry, and, it's helped me build my philosophies of how I want to treat my artists. You know what I'm saying? And how I want to make their careers as peaceful and carefree as possible. You know what I'm saying? So they really, I wouldn't be doing this without them. You know what I'm saying? As much as they didn't want me to do music, like, if I didn't have my parents, this would be a different story. Or if my parents did anything else other than music, it would probably be a different story. I would have been a lawyer or something.
What would your biggest, I know you said they're like your biggest musical influence, but like artists, I know, like you said, they were artists too, man. But artists that other people can relate to maybe.
Yeah. Are we talking like just artists or producers?
Anything. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Dr. Dre, Teddy Riley, Jay Dilla, D'Angelo, big Prince fan, big Shaka Khan fan, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. There's so many, man. Philly International. I'm a big, like, the old school really influenced me at a very young age, and watching my dad work with a lot of the legacy acts from Motown, like Martha Reeves and people like that. So that old school vibe really got into me at a young age. So, all of those old school production teams, Norman Whitfield, Barrett Strong, Harvey Fuqua, those are guys that their names might not be the biggest, but they probably wrote some of your favorite oldies. You know what I'm saying? As far as artists, Jill Scott, Brandy, I think she's like the R&B Bible when it comes to harmonies. Kendrick, as far as rap goes, my boy Miles Lowe, not really, like, Miles Lowe is really one of my favorite rappers. I'm not saying that because he's my artist. But let's see. I get heat for this, but I used to be a really big Raheem Devon fan.
Okay.
I don't know why I get heat for this, but I used to get heat for that. I said Prince already.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Yeah, that's about it. Like, everything that I hear, I try to take some kind of influence from. Even like in the jazz world, as a jazz musician, as a drummer, taking some of those like those Gershwin pieces and stuff like that from back in the day. There's a lot of elements in those kinds of records back then that are very integral to what we do today. You know what I'm saying?
So you mentioned when you were naming some of your influences, like writers and producers, might not heard of them. So do you think that those type of people are underappreciated in the music industry?
No, because you know them if you're in the industry. And that was kind of what I always strived for, was, I want to be respected by my peers in the industry, and the acclaim in it. I never was the guy to be the front man. I was never that. That I knew that at a young age. Like, I'm cool. Behind the scenes is me. So yeah, I don't think it's underappreciation, because whenever I talk to other music producers and, you know, they hear me say some of those names, they're kind of drawn back like, dang, you know, like Harvey Fuqua, like he did produce Marvin Gaye's last album, you know what I'm saying? And he was a key part of artist development for Motown. I got to work with him and study under him like shortly after I moved out here. He used to live out here on the east side, had a studio in his home. And even though he still had a very old school setup, but the beauty of working with legends like that is they're always students at the end of the day. And just as much as I was learning from him, he was learning from me. You know, he was amazed to see I could do everything that he's doing in all these machines on my little laptop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, you know, being able to work with him. You know, he passed not shortly after, but he passed about a year after, you know, we started working together. I still have some of those records we worked on. We worked on a few records for my mom as well. But yeah, like, and even seeing him, like, it was, all the accolades are there, all the Grammys are there, all the plaques are there. You know, it's just more so back then it wasn't an emphasis on the producer and songwriter as it is now, where the producer is getting just as much camera time as the artist. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the only difference. But at the same time, back then it didn't call for that. You know, in today's day and age where labels aren't really providing what they used to provide back in the day, like an in-house production team, like a artist development staff, like you know, everything in-house. Due to that not being a thing, it kind of forces the producer to kind of step out on his own and be his own brand. Whereas before, I don't want to say as producers we were a service provider. I don't want to say that, but producers weren't looking for the fame behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at somebody like Max Martin, who's produced every pop hit you listen to. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't even know what he looked like. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to me, those guys, they just did it right. You know what I'm saying? They had more time to focus on the damn music. You know what I mean? If you ask me. Mm-hmm. I'm just not the take a picture of me guy. You know, that's not.
Rather just
like
stay
the work behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm on stage, that's a different thing. Mm-hmm. But, you know, like, I don't even like doing like vlogs of me in the studio like that. Like, it's like, man, get out of my studio.
Yeah,
like,
let me do what I'm doing.
But I mean, even in today's day and age, like, you kind of have to be open to it. Like, I'm in that phase now where I'm moving towards that. It's just difficult because even though I'm younger, I come from that old school lineage. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to study under. You know what I'm saying? So I come from that philosophy of, you know, being behind the scenes and, you know, not even in a sense of trying to stay out of the way or anything like that. Just, I got too many artists to worry about to be out here doing the most for Instagram, you know?
All right, so we're actually going to take a quick break. So watch this ad and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So you said you're originally from Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. We asked Vic Smith a similar question, but how was the transition from Michigan to Las Vegas?
It was different, man. Everything's in your face here.
Yeah.
Detroit, even though it's a rough city, everything wasn't so in your face. It's a very slow moving city if you want it to be. Let's put it that way. Because I think you can live fast anywhere if you want to. Coming here made me grow up real fast because so much was thrown in my face at once. Navigating all of that at a young age. Yeah, it was weird. I I didn't like it at first. Like I loved it because like, you know, you come out here, you see the palm trees, and it's always fucking sunny. It's like, oh, this is paradise compared to gloomy ass Detroit. No disrespect, all my Detroit people, but y'all know it's gloomy as fuck. So, but I didn't like these mean ass kids that was out here, and like just having to like really, I had to like be a whole different nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that knows me back home like knows me. Like I'm very nice. I'm very cool. My parents raised me right, and I wasn't used to blatant disrespect. You know what I'm saying? If I'm just being honest about it, but I also wasn't used to the gang banging culture that was out here. And I didn't give a fuck either. You know, where I'm from, I'm my own fucking man. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm also, you know, I've realized it was easy to get money out here, and that was what kind of like, I was like, okay, I see how you can do it, navigate the city, but still be cool with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I fell in love with Vegas, man. It has become home. You know what I'm saying? I'm still from Detroit, but ask me if I'm moving back to Detroit. No. Yeah, man. Like the transition here was different. It took about a year to get used to everything, but once I got through that transitional phase and everything, you know, it was cool. You know, started making a lot more friends that were into the same things. You know, when I moved here, I moved with my uncle and his family. He had about 4 kids, and it was bad as hell, and then all kind of shit. And so me trying to be the good kid and represent my parents, I had to deal with a lot of shit in my own home, like fighting my own cousins, and so that type of shit was like, oh man, I'm so ready to go back home. But at the same time, I would go to school and be like, yeah, I'm never going back to fucking Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it, you know, after I got through that and, dealing with that, it was kind of like a sibling thing. You know what I'm saying? All your older cousins think they can, mess with you until you whoop their ass a little bit, Yeah, that's all.
So you kind of touched on it, but would you say that kind of like I guess you can say culture, like the disrespect here than it is at Detroit? Do you think that was the hardest part, or what do you think the hardest part was?
No, the hardest part, to be honest, the hardest part was just staying true to who I was and not letting everybody's influence around me push me into shit that I knew I wasn't with or that I wasn't built for. Like, I'm not built for. I'm not a gangster. I'm not built for robbing people. I love people in general too much for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was the hardest part, was in general, like, just in Detroit, it wasn't a question. You know what I'm saying? It was like everybody knew my family. Everybody like, this nigga Miles about to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the music dude. Anytime I tried to get into some trouble, it would be an old head or a big homie there like, nigga,
stop,
go home. You know what I'm saying? And so here, I didn't have that at all, outside of my parents. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have that here at all. So really just, and I was always the kid that would hang out with the older kids for some reason. I don't know why. I just was always like that. So just like staying true to myself and not letting everybody else and what they were doing influence me and how I'm living. You know what I'm saying?
So your name is Noize, right?
Yep.
You want to tell us how you came up with that?
Man. To be real with you, Noize. What was I doing, man? I was on my laptop doing something, and I remember now. Yeah, so I was on my laptop actually. I was just like getting Photoshop under my wings and everything, and I was bouncing like names around because like I love my dad, but like he was the king of giving like corny ass stage names, and I would not use a single one of them. But this one fucking worked, and he said Noize out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I just decided to put the Z in there because I was like, oh, I want to be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was messing with Photoshop, and my dad, like I was throwing around stage names, and I think I said some dumb shit. I really had some very bad shit. My dad had some very bad ideas too. And then out of nowhere, he came out with Noize, and I was like, oh, that works. Because at the time, I was doing dance music. I was doing EDM stuff. I was trying to be an EDM DJ. And yeah, man, I realized that was out the window for me. I just don't love it like I used to as a kid. So after that, I came up with my logo, my first logo, and I've been Noize ever since. And to be honest, everybody knew me as Miles for so long that like it took about a year and a half for everybody to like truly start calling me Noize. Nice. And that was weird because once I linked up with Miles Lowe, when you would say Miles, like it would fuck me up because we both look, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, okay, this is weird. Like y'all have to call me Noize now, you know? Do
you remember any of the names that your dad was trying to throw out?
Oh man, y'all remember that? It was like the CIA brainwashing program, like MK Ultra or something like that.
Yeah, I think
it was derivative of that shit. And then it was another one that. Oh no, it was one that I actually did use that I still get shit for from the squad because they uncovered it and they weren't supposed to. I thought it was Barry. This is like from my MySpace days. But a friend of mine in high school, he was, well, no, not in high school, in middle school. He was messing around on Photoshop. And he was like, hey, man, you need a logo. And I was like, I don't have a name. And at this time, my dad can do no wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I asked him, what name should I have him do on the logo? And he's like, have him do Ultrasound Productions.
Ultrasound. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, man, that shit was rough.
Yeah, I can't act like it was.
It didn't stick.
Yeah,
didn't
I wonder why.
Didn't stick. But yeah, man, very, very bad names. Very, very bad names. But hey, man, his heart was there. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
were you like pretty honest with him? We're like, no, that's.
Oh hell no, nah, man! I couldn't break my dad's heart like that. I went with it for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, that's done.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it.
Yeah, man, because he was so proud of it. Like, I think it was more so like, you know, oh, my son, he's like making his way towards his own production. I think it was more of that, but. Yeah, I couldn't bring myself to like true. No, yeah. So he'll see this and probably laugh his ass off. But yeah, like I couldn't do it to him. Until I got older and I let him know, like, you know, that name was really bad, right? But he's the one that came up with the Full Circle name. So I can't like give him too much shit.
Yeah, the good comes with the bad.
So. Yeah.
So speaking of Full Circle, when did that originated from?
Full Circle turned into a label in 2013. It started as a production company. It started as a production company about like 2 years earlier. And at that time, I was literally just focusing on servicing records to publishing companies and writing records for artists. You know what I'm saying? I had like 3-4 songwriters on board. I was the only producer at the time. And that's all we did. We just cranking out records. Client come in, they want a record, cool. What's the concept you want? Great. I didn't want a label to start with. I saw my dad try it, you know, and I saw him succeed at it too, you know, as a VP for a prominent dance label early on. You know, I saw him succeed at it, but I also saw the headaches that shit came with, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't want a label at first. It wasn't until I started really getting more and more hands-on with artists that I was like, okay, all I need to do is create my own outlet, and any artist that I fuck with will be on. You know what I'm saying? And so in 2013, April of 2013, that's when I turned it into a label.
So you said Miles Lowe's one of your like favorite artists. Yeah. So how is it for you? Like, he's under my label. Like, how does that feel?
The shit was crazy because like we were working on one of his projects, and he came and asked me about joining the team, and I was not expecting that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because from the outside looking in, like Miles had his own movement already. Like, he was doing his own shit already. Like, young nigga was popping. Like, I like, hey man, I'm just here to help. You know what I'm saying? Because it was it was a song called For You that he did. I think he called it The Wish. The Gift, yes. And at the time he had a radio show. I had a whole nother artist that I was working with. I was trying to get my artist on his radio show. And I saw the video and I was like, oh, this nigga spitting. Like, and not just bullshit. Like, he's really talking about something. But he's giving it to you in a way to where it's relatable with today's content. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ingest it just the same as you can take the Baby record. You know what I'm saying? And so after that, I was like, I gotta work with dude. So we started working on one of his projects, and we finished said project, RSVP. And after that, like 2 weeks later, we had finished mixing the record and everything, like, and he was with me like for pretty much every mix session, which was different for me because I had never experienced an artist sitting in the studio with me mixing a record. It was cool because it was like, oh great, we can do this shit right the first time and call it a day. Perfect. You know what I'm saying? But after that, about 2 weeks later, he had came to me and was like, yeah man, how you feel about me coming on board with FCC? And I played it off like I was gonna ask you the same thing, but like dead ass, I was like,
inside you're all hyped up.
I was like, what? We on, bro, we on. Only because like he had that energy that he still has it. Like, I'm talking like his past tense. He's got that energy that, like, you know, he really, if all else failed, he gonna put this motherfucker on his back. You know what I'm saying? He cares about it just as much as me. You know what I'm saying? And that was hard to find because before I was dealing with artists that only gave a fuck about what I could do for them, and not even in a musical sense, in a very monetary sense. How much advance money you gonna give me? How much this and that? You know what I'm saying? With Low, it was, man, let's make some fucking magic. I fuck with your sound, you fuck with my sound. We believe in each other. Let's do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And for me, that was a lot because I had never had a relationship with an artist like that. You know what I'm saying? And that was when Full Circle started to become more of a family thing than anything, because it was like, okay, like it just in certain, I'm not gonna get too specific, but it's just certain shit you're not gonna deal with or put up with or even do for somebody that's not your family, that's not your brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, so like Low is really my brother. You know what I'm saying? And you know, him coming on board FCC, like I said, that was his idea. Like I really was like, I'm gonna leave bro alone. Like, he's got it. Like, he's got a whole game plan together. He knows where he wants to go with this shit. But he obviously saw something, and I saw something in him too. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a one-sided situation. But for me, I was like, I honestly ain't think he wanted to be on the label. I didn't think he, you know, like, that was just me. I didn't think he wanted to be on the label. Like, he gonna be super indie, you know, his whole career. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, technically he is. Like, we an indie label. You know what I'm saying? My artists probably have the most freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just in general. So, you know, like it definitely was a thrill, because it was like, okay, now I get to really dive in, because the project that we initially worked on, I only produced like 3 tracks. I want to say, yeah, about 3 tracks. And ever since then, I produce pretty much everything. I mean, maybe a few guest beats. Like if we got a 10-song album, like it'll probably be like 9 from me and 1 from somebody else.
Nice. So do you have any artists you would like to work with, like in like a dream collaboration almost?
A dream collaboration?
Yeah.
Ooh, a lot, man. I got a few.
Name them.
I definitely want to do something with Teddy Riley. Y'all gonna laugh, but I definitely want to do something. I want to produce something for Shaka Khan just because I know I can do it.
Yeah,
like that would just be the shit. That just would be the shit to me. Want to produce something for Cole. Just because like he's got that producer ear, you know what I'm saying, and that would be it for me. You know what I'm saying, to be like, you know, and he ain't got to do shit, like just rap, nigga. Like that would be the shit for me. Soundwave from TDE. I've always wanted to do something with him. Thundercat, Robert Glasper, Mary J. Blige. Like I still wanted to work with her. Man, there's so many. I'm trying to like rank them in my head before I say them, like so I don't miss out on the like most important ones. But yeah, I mean, I gotta throw some contemporaries in there. So yeah, I'd say I do want to like do something with the baby. Like that would be dope. Like, cause honestly, I feel like the baby and Miles on the track would be the shit. Like, just cause like it would force Miles to like get in his halfway ratchet bag, and like y'all haven't heard Miles in his ratchet bag, but that shit is fire. But yeah, like the baby. Ye. I still wanna do something with Ye. Just minus the silver face and everything.
Oh yeah,
that's
like.
What'd you think of his latest project?
If it helps, we both didn't like it.
I love where his heart was at.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Yeah.
That shit was buns. I mean, Malice wrote everything, so I like it's one of those things where like I almost don't count it, but you know, I mean, love where his heart is at with it. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of it, especially knowing where Christian rap and you know Christian hip hop is at, like and the level of like lyricism that they're putting in their material. That wasn't it.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of mixed reviews on that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Kanye stans that are gonna swear he could do no wrong, but I would have rather, you know, him do a choir joint with the choir or some shit, like call it a day.
Definitely.
Did you see I guess it's not technically the carpool karaoke, but it was like the airport karaoke.
Oh snap! No, I didn't
it
see.
was him and forgot the host's name on the show, but it was just a plane full of him and his choir.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was pretty dope. So
yeah, I mean the choir I did like that he did, that was dope. I thought it was gonna be like an album like that, but it was pretty much everything that leaked on YouTube with new lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, well, do you have anything you'd like to mention to our audience? Any upcoming projects, anything like that?
Yeah, Winter Tape 2 coming February. Miles Low. Vic Smith, Mamie Lewis coming soon. Executive produced by me. Diz La Wiz got a new single coming out, also produced by me. Winter Tape 2 is all produced by me. FCC Tour 2020. Look out for that. We putting that together. Look out for that. Love all the supporters. Like that's something that I'm still getting used to, like from doing all of the shows and everything, like getting used to like seeing people physically support a brand that you like came up with. Like that shit is wild. Like it's like, oh, this is the dopest shit ever.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you know, love to all y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are why we do this shit, you know? So yeah, that's about it, man. Shout out to all of the FCC affiliates, everybody who fuck with us, everybody who believes in us. We do this shit for y'all, man.
Nice. So tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at I am Noize with a Z. You can find me on Twitter at Beats by Noize. Oh yeah, Facebook.
I always forget about Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook / Noize Music 313. Yeah, I kept my Detroit area code right.
Nice.
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn as Miles Martin. You know, my business profile.
Gotta keep it professional, right?
Hey man, listen.
Hey, promote
that is
everything.
a slept on
Yes, it
utility,
is.
I'll tell you. All right. Yeah, man. Snapchat, Beats by Noize. Yeah, man. I don't be on none of that shit but Instagram. So, you know, just letting y'all know, if y'all want to genuinely get in touch with me, like just hit me on Instagram.
All right, awesome.
So we appreciate you for coming on as guests on our show.
Thank you. All right, man.
All right, appreciate it.
This has been Apartment 3, and we will catch you guys next time.